Today, we are talking about how to stand up for yourself once and for all without feeling guilty about it. I'm going to break down the psychology behind why people pleasing happens, how to rewire your mindset, and give you real life examples to help you start asserting yourself in everyday situations. And no, we are not swinging from people pleaser to aggressive. That's what a lot of people tend to do when they finally just get fed up with things. First, they let everyone walk all over them, and then when they finally snap, they start going too hard. We are not doing that. We're learning balance, how to be firm but fair, clear but not combative. Before we get started, are you up for a challenge? If you've been feeling stuck, unmotivated, or just kind of off, I've created a free 5-day Feel Better challenge to help you break out of that rut. One small, science-backed step a day. No pressure, no overwhelm, no fluffy BS. It takes less than 5 minutes a day, and it's totally free. The link's in the description. Go check it out. Now, let's get into it. If you struggle with standing up for yourself, it's not because you're too nice. It's because at some point in your life, you learned that keeping quiet was safer than speaking up. People pleasing is actually a fawn response, which is one of the 4 main stress responses. You've probably heard of fight, flight, or freeze, but there's also fawn. The fawn response develops in people who learned that conflict equals danger. Maybe as a kid, you grew up in a household where voicing your opinions led to punishment or rejection or emotional withdrawal from your caregivers. Or maybe every time you try to set a boundary, you were made to feel like you were being way too dramatic or overreacting to things. So your brain made this connection when you were a kid. The best way to stay safe is to make sure everyone else is happy at your own expense. Over time, this turns into an automatic survival instinct. You start believing, if I say no, then they're gonna be mad at me. If I set this boundary, people are gonna leave me. If I put myself first, I'm being selfish. This is deeply ingrained conditioning. If you've been doing this your entire life, it makes sense that standing up for yourself feels really unnatural. But here's the thing, just because it feels uncomfortable does not mean it's wrong. This took me years to figure out, and I'm still working on this one. People pleasing isn't just a harmless habit. Long term, it completely wrecks your mental and emotional well-being. It completely destroys your self-esteem too. When you constantly put other people's needs ahead of your own, you reinforce the idea that your comfort doesn't matter. Over time, this leads to feelings of low self-worth, self-doubt, and a complete lack of identity. It damages your relationships. People pleasers often attract one-sided relationships where they give and they give and they give, but they never get anything in return. And because they struggle to set up boundaries, they often end up feeling really resentful, unappreciated, and emotionally drained. People pleasing also makes you feel invisible. When you never express what you actually want, people stop considering you. Not because they don't care, but because you've taught them that you're fine with anything. You're training people to overlook your needs. The longer you keep this pattern going, the harder it becomes to recognize who you actually are, what you actually want, and what you actually need. A lot of people don't know when to set a boundary, so here's a really simple rule. If you feel anger, resentment, or irritation in a situation, that's your sign. That's your alarm bell going off, letting you know a line has been crossed. A lot of people think anger and those other not so great feeling emotions are bad things, but it's actually just information. It's your brain saying, hey, something about this isn't okay. And if you ignore it and if you swallow it, it doesn't just go away, it continues to build up. Let's say you order a steak medium rare and it comes out well done. You feel uncomfortable sending it back, but you also feel irritated that you're about to pay for something you didn't really want, but you really just don't want to go through that inconvenience, right? But instead of just eating it, you can simply say, hey, I really hate to be that person, but this is really overcooked. Could I get a new one? 9 times out of 10, the server will fix it with no issue. Let's take another example. Your friend asks for a ride to the airport, but it's a 2-hour round trip and you feel annoyed just thinking about it. Instead of automatically saying yes, we could say instead, hey, I'd really like to help, but that's actually going to take a huge chunk out of my day. You don't have to justify, you don't have to apologize, just set the boundary. If you spent your whole life avoiding conflict, standing up for yourself is going to feel really unnatural at first. But here's how you can start. We're going to start small. Practice in low stakes situations first. If your order is wrong at the restaurant, like we talked about earlier, ask for the correction. If a salesperson is being pushy, you can just say, no, I'm not interested, and keep walking. Use I statements. Instead of saying you're being disrespectful, try I feel uncomfortable when this happened. This reduces defensiveness in that other person and makes the conversation usually way more productive. Learn to embrace silence. When you set a boundary, stop talking. You don't need to over-explain, you don't need to apologize, you don't have to justify yourself. Let the silence just sit. People will often just accept it. And prepare simple responses. If someone asks you to do something you really don't want to do, have a response ready. I can't do that. I don't have the time for that right now. That's not something I can commit to. And last, expect discomfort. At first, this is going to feel really wrong and feel really foreign, but feeling guilty or feeling wrong doesn't mean that you're actually doing something wrong. This just means in this situation, you're doing something new. Standing up for yourself doesn't mean being rude. It means that you're recognizing your comfort, your time, and your energy matter just as much as everyone else's. So you tell me, what's the hardest part about standing up for yourself? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you want this video in readable format, make sure you sign up for my email list. The link is in the description.